Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I was wishing my sister a happy birthday down in Tampa. I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the blessings from the universe. And with that said, it's 421. I told my sister I was going to smoke one with her. She's fixing to do hers on her end. And so if anybody's out there, it's 420 somewhere. So to my sister. There you go. Hi, Teresa, Elderberry. Did I miss anybody? I greet you this wet Saturday in hopes that you are dry and warm. You know, it's chilly outside down here in South Georgia at the moment. I was doing some recon information on some, what I consider, they're not necessarily back channels, but a lot of folks don't listen. So, and today I was like, well, checking in with somebody who hasn't made a video in a while. And I was just stressed by what I heard. And this is supposed to be Galactic Federation kind of stuff, okay? Now, there's been a lot of talk over the years from the Galactic Federation type folk, okay? Not just them, but, you know, that we're going to have this big thing happen upon the earth and that everybody's going to ascend to the fifth dimension, okay? And we're already partially in the fourth or whatever and blah, blah, blah. You probably know the drill, right? So some of these channels are saying that, you know, ET's going to show up and many of us are going to be taken to the new earth. It's not even going to seem like we did anything. There's going to be a lot of bad people that are going to be gone. And, you know, and here was the caveat that kind of got to me was that, and a lot of folks who are suffering. And it didn't really ding me until today. And it was like a cosmic voice that said, pay attention to this, Hawkeye. And I was like, well, what does that mean? So there are a lot of people who are suffering right now. My dear friend who's in the hospital, who is recently, I've received notice that she's got COVID and her birthday's tomorrow. I can't get in touch with her because I'm not family. So prayers go out to my dear friend and happy birthday early. But with this idea, though, that as it was presented, was that there are so many suffering people that the best thing to do is to allow them to go ahead and ascend. And I was like, wait, take them out of body. And I was like, well, wait a minute, that means death. That means, wait a minute. So are quote, these ET folks that have been saying, yeah, we're going to take care of you and everything. Are they going to take care of us in a way that, because I have often wondered about this fifth dimensional thing, in that the only way I see it being able to transcend, as I keep saying, is for this body to die. Okay. Oh no, that's not it. But it's going to be something else. We're all going to be on a new earth, and it's all going to be better. And you know, and so I've been listening to this stuff for years, going, interesting, you know. And at one time I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the answer. You know, ET's going to show up, and you know, we're going to be saved. So it's like, okay, so where's ET? Where are all these things that we were promised years ago? Because I've been listening to some of this stuff for over 15 years. So if these good guys are really out there supposedly, you know, helping us, and, you know, but with the idea, though, that, yeah, there are all these people that are suffering, they'll be taken out of body. And I'm like, what? That means death. That means that some of these folks are like, you know, they're going to do the humane thing and send us to the vet to get a shot and put us down. What? I mean, that's not what they said, but in my brain, I'm going, wait a minute. So these people who are suffering, the way to fix this is to put them down. Like, well, the dog's so old he can't get around. And look, I've been through this, okay? And it's not easy to have to put a friend of yours, to quote, to sleep, right? And so this idea, I've had, animals die in my arms. Little Sasha that I had for so many years, it was one of the bravest dogs I've ever met. One of the craziest little four-legged critters I've ever had the pleasure to have, to have known in this lifetime. So, but anyway, with this, the way they were discussing this, the only way to end the suffering of so many people from hunger, starvation, disease, or whatever was to just take them out of their body and allow them to ascend. And I'm like, hang on here. So, with all the current things going on, one might ask just the question. So, their idea to help us ascend is to what? Take us out of body? Does that mean they're going to kill a bunch of us? And that's how this is going to happen? Because in my book, I've talked about this fifth dimensional stuff. I really don't see it. I don't understand it. Because to me, in order to achieve it, my spirit has to be out of this body. So if some of these folks who have, quote, been in touch with ET for so long are discussing the fact that they're going to help humanity out by us, taking their spirits out of their bodies so that they won't have to suffer in this world anymore. And I am still scratching my head going, WTF? What the Fruit Loops? What are you talking about? So, but anyway, I thought it appropriate they were kicking my butt to at least put this out there. I have no long-term, whatever is on this. It's just that we need to stop and reconsider what some of these folks mean by ascension, okay? And they're like hammering me right now. Ascension, we have been fooled by a lot of folks. And so these entities, who, I'm in touch with these and the higher spirits are saying we're going to go into the fifth dimension and all these things are going to happen and everything's going to be better. But what in my mind, fifth dimension means I got to die first. I got to get rid of this shell so I can travel through the universe and so I can experience these other things. How am I going to do that in a 3D body? It has never made sense to me. Oh, it still doesn't. But to the point, what do we do in the meantime? Are these folks like, is that part of the honest to God crazy plan? They're going to allow these people to ascend. Did you hear me? Allow these people to ascend by what? Snuffing out their, this dimension and allow them. I got to scratch my head and go, it sounds really fishy to me. Now, I talked about this yesterday, I guess, or the day before. I can't remember. Ain't that weird? But anyway, about angels and so forth and that kind of thing. So, and, the Vlash and the Mater, they want to get rid of us. That's been their agenda for a long time. We've outlived our usefulness. For whatever reason, that's what they see. So, but the other folks who are supposed to be helping us, now they got a handful, when there is a critter like the Vlash who has no compassion, there is no reasoning with them because the only thing they want to do is fight, destroy, that's, and take over. That's what they do. And, there is no peace agreement with them because that would be like telling a Klingon that he can't fight anymore. That there is no honor in being a warrior. And there are races that just ain't going to buy that, and haven't. They have been a threat to the, universe for quite some time. And everybody, there is no peace. It has to be total annihilation for that, to them, and for any being that has a little bit of compassion, they don't want to destroy everybody, because there is this universal, do no harm unless it's absolutely necessary. But to wipe out another culture. But here's the thing: they tried that thousands and a million years ago, and they did not succeed. So, but when you have a panther is going to be a panther, a snake's going to be a snake. You cannot change who they are and what they eat and what they do. So I have become friends with snakes, but that's a different story. They still eat my, chicken eggs. They still, they still are snakes. And back when I had chickens, I even allowed some of the eggs to go to the snakes to keep them healthy. And, but anyway, I know I'm crazy. But this idea, though, that in this discussion, and the 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 phrase of, helping mankind to ascend is bandied about all over the place, and in the spiritual culture, it's been picked up, and people talking about, moving into the fifth dimension and ascending. And I'm still, they're screaming at me. My spirit guide's going, you tell these folks to reconsider what their idea of ascension is. Now, me and some other folks have talked about the transition, but to the point, though, some of the folks that use the word transition, that could mean the same thing, because it's all right for us to say, well, we know that there are bad people in the world, and we can count some of these people, the nastiest folks on one hand, and some of us, not me, but some folks have been praying for their demise for quite some time, because they're what their overall effect of the planet is. So, why hasn't, if this idea of the good ET's supposed to save us all, then why haven't them people just been sucked up, and why hasn't their spirit, why haven't they taken them out? But to the point of that, the discussion is that all of these people who are suffering, we're going to relieve them of that suffering by releasing their spirit. That sounds like mass annihilation to me. You're going to lift their spirits out of these people. Well, wait. Where are the replicators that are supposed to make food? Where are all these things that were promised, 10, 15 years ago, and said these Star Trek things would be happening, and the year of 2020 there would be, start being, we'd see some of this stuff, and it's 2021. We haven't seen shit. Most of us, anyway. Have they taken out the bad guys? No. I mean, no offense to this, but for example, a certain person who's talking about climate went to a particular country in his own private jet. They couldn't have took him out. Just saying. And I don't necessarily mean, take the plane down, but they could have just sucked him up, and they would have gone, where did this guy go? So, there's so many things that, they literally want to suck the life out of us to help us. But what about the mean, bad, nasty people? Why don't they get rid of them? And the riches that they have accumulated get spread out, and to help these people, who are suffering. There's enough money to go around. There are people who will volunteer. I've volunteered for many things over the years. And it's like, if I were, healthier, I would still volunteer. Like on a construction site or something. Now, I might go and show up and help somebody and teach them how to hammer a nail and let them do the work. I could supervise, and make sure that things were lined up and check dimensions. But as far as doing a lot of hammering or whatever, I just can't do that anymore. But I could still help out. But anyway, with that said, though, I haven't given up on humanity, but it seems like some of these folks, in order to help us, they want to kill us to help us ascend. Doesn't that just seem fishy to you? Well, all these waves of energy. Now, look, there are things in the universe that are going to come flying past the Earth. And I don't necessarily think ET, with all their stuff, could honestly help the planet Earth as far as stopping the occurrence, because it's been going on in the universe forever. So, but if this is supposed to, do a lot of harm to the Earth, when these events, these series of waves hit us and so forth, is this idea of ascension, in that, yeah, well, you're all going to ascend because it's going to wipe out half the people on the planet. That'd be an easy way to ascend, you know. I mean, there was a really big earthquake off the coast of Japan today. And, and they have methods they have earthquake machines. And, if you don't think they don't, just, But this idea, though, that of ascension, they're telling me we need to reconsider what other people have been telling us about what this ascension deal means, and even transition. Now, I can see us, I still think that we need to transition into the fourth dimension and get used to, things flying around and seeing orbs and fairies and things, that we need to transition into the fourth dimension. Oh, no, we're going to go right to the fifth. And my question in that is, so how are we going to get there? Well, if half the planet was wiped out and we were, quote, taken to the new Earth, what? So, and I've had a lot of years of following this kind of stuff. And so my belief has been not that ET exists, not that they don't have technologies. I think it's the fact that the promises that have been made are still being made by some of these intuitives. And I have to scratch my head and go, wait a minute. There are all these earth changes that are going to continue to go on. Plus, there are these waves of energy that are honestly heading towards us. And, a big cloud of rocks is coming too. So, we're passing, our solar system is constantly in motion. The Milky Way is constantly in motion. Everything's moving. And so we're never in the same place twice. Never, ever. In the universe, I mean. We're basically in the same place in our solar system is basically in the same place of the galaxy. But as far as stars and other galaxies, everything's moving. So we have been warned about these things that were going to come up in a couple of years that were out there in space. I do agree that there's stuff out there. We're seeing it come in all the time. But at the same point, there's a lot of wars going on up there. You've heard me talk about it before. I've seen one spaceship get zapped out of existence by another one. And it still amazes me that I witnessed it, and I don't have a record of it except in here, And it was about this time of year several years ago, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. So, but the idea, though, so I'm very much aware that there are things in space going on, whether it's our guys, and I think our guys are involved. I mean, the planet, our guys, our folk. It's been released. And think about this. The Chinese have landed a probe thing, 15-ton with a thingy, rover and all. And the country Dubai has also landed a spaceship thingy on Mars. So, wait, what? So, um, Americans have this idea that we're the only ones that do space exploration. There are a lot of other countries out there who are, are already, I would say in a way more advanced than we are because they're still trying. They're putting forth the effort and obviously the money. But in Dubai, there's a lot of rich folks, and they all want to go to Mars and all this kind of stuff. But how much news is being said about these other spaceships that have landed on the planet Mars? Have you heard about it? Is Has it been on the NBC News, for example, that Dubai has landed a spacecraft on the planet Mars? No, I don't think so. Maybe they have, but it's not like been published. You know what I mean? I would think that that's big news. So a lot of people want to get off this planet. A lot of people want to find out, what our history is, because there's a lot of information that we came from Mars and to the planet Earth, and but we lived there before we lived here, or it might have been simultaneously because of all the things that have been seen on Mars and so forth. But to another point, though, with what's going on with this idea of ascension, everybody needs to just sit back and just go, let me think about this. What about the friends that have passed? Those of us who knew Brian Barnett, Milky Way. And, he transitioned, didn't he? Sure he did. But did he make that transition with his body? Did he make that ascension? Now, for those folks, I know we're not all Catholic or had Catholic backgrounds, but it was said that Mary, the mother of Jesus, if you believe that, ascended into heaven, that she didn't die, that she literally, whoosh, up she went. And so, or was it the Assumption? Anyway, up she went. Or was it the Assumption, Teresa? Anyway, but the idea, though, that in recorded history, now, like I said, they've made shit up in the Bible. So, did she really ascend into heaven? And for those of us who kind of like, Star Trek, was she beamed aboard a ship? And I'm not trying to be flippant about this. I'm trying to be, let's be practical about this, because these folks have been around this solar system and this universe a long time, and I will use a reference of Egypt, in that as a machinist and someone who's had to machine very precise dimensional things to go in jet airplanes and jet engines, to pieces that made spark plug wires. All these things have very close tolerances. When you look at how some of those rocks have inside cuts, granite, and are polished smooth, and there's less than a 1,000th variance in that. If anybody who's ever worked in metal understand what it's like to try to keep a 1,000th tolerance, it's difficult. And to do an inside corner that's flush on all directions, with using a square, they did not chisel that shit out. Somebody had some really, honest to God, fancy equipment to do that stuff. We just have to accept it. So you say, well, this and that, and we didn't know, and it was done by no. It was done by a different kind of machine, a precise machine. You just don't set something up like that and off you go. You're going to get a taper. But I'm telling you. So you say, well, how? They had other technologies. Simply put, where'd they get them? Not from us, okay? So we have to consider this. They have been around a long time. So have they been putting dreams in folks' head? I mean, because There was a time I wouldn't talk to my folks upstairs because I got bad information. So, and I made this statement to them. I said, you know, whoever that is giving me bad info, I want them out of here, or I ain't talking to y'all no more. You know, I'll keep doing my thing, and I'll still believe, but me, as far as me and you talking, nah, ain't doing it. So this is just, maybe it's a warning. They want me to say it's a warning to be careful about what some folks are discussing as the ascension into fifth, because it may require death to do it. Isn't that interesting? And after all these years of listening to somebody speak, people, and trusting in their vision of the planet and so forth, you know, but ain't that Agenda 21? And ain't we in 21? The Agenda 2030, these other things that have been planned for 100 years, some of this stuff, or more. So we have to stop and consider. Now, what does that mean to you and me personally? It means we need to have our stuff together. We need to have our spiritual, whatever it is, and we need to find that core within it and stick with it. Because if it means, you know, massive, you know, population decrease in order for this ascension to happen, and it could be a cosmic blast. I'm not saying that, you know, it could be that, yeah, y'all going to get ascended. Yeah, wait till that second wave hits the planet, you know, and we all get baked or fried or, you know, zapped. And so, yeah, well, you know, they would be right in that we made that transition, right? They would be correct. They just didn't say how we were going to do it. Has anybody explained how we're going to do this? Well, our DNA is going to get changed. Yeah, well, you know, we're getting these super duper gamma rays and stuff, you know, out of the center of the Milky Way that they've been watching heading towards us for a while. That, you know, we're just going to have to ride this mess out. But those folks that are facing the wave when it hits us, technically could just get fried, you know, like they got put in the microwave. And that's an obvious thing we need to pay attention to. Are any of us going to really know it? There might not even be a flash in the sky, and all of a sudden we're just like being baked. And that'd be that. We would make the transition, wouldn't we? And I'm not trying to be morbid about this. I'm thinking, you know, in practicality, you know, how would they get all of us to transition? By just letting us, trying to get, now, many of these folks are trying to get us on the right path, quote, to ascension, right? So they're spiritually saying, get your stuff together, quit paying attention to money and all these other things, all these other obstacles. Quit worrying about man-made things, quit worrying about this stuff, you know, get together with human beings, and we're all being separated from that. So we can't hug each other and all that kind of thing. And, so there is this separation, and now there's the separation of sexes. You know, you can't call a woman anymore. You know, breastfeeding is now chest feeding. You know, that's in the UK. And it's going to be here really soon. So they're trying to separate us on so many ways. Is that to keep us from being who we really are spiritually? It's to not necessarily deceive us, but pull us off the track. Because if these, quote, events that have been talking about, which up to this point, you know, the event is coming soon. I bought into it. What event? Ain't happened yet. Well, there are these people working on this, and Cobra's doing that, and this and the other thing. What's happened? Not much, in my opinion. However, we could look at this from the Vlash point of view, meaning those who are, quote, supposed to be in power at the moment, and that the mandates and so forth, like they want to, you know, block Floridians from, because they don't wear masks and stuff down there. but they want to tighten. Everybody's supposed to wear 2 masks now in certain places, but they're going to let all these immigrants in from our southern borders. Where does any of this make sense? So where it makes sense, though, if we look at these folks' higher plan, their agenda is to, overrun us with all these other poor people who need this attention and blah, 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 suck off the system, help get us sick, help put those of us who were born here, grew up here, lived our lives here, worked here. Many of us gave our life for this country. But folks are just, come on in, come on up. They're not being tested for COVID or anything like that. I'm wondering if they're being frisked to see if they're bringing in any weapons or drugs. But anyway, that's, who cares, right? So, but why is this happening? You see, because those of us who are like, okay, so you won. Okay, so it's weird. Okay, so you're doing the impeachment thing. Okay. So, but why are these other things happening that they want to push so quickly with an EO? Because some of these people in that particular party are related to, guess who? The Flash. Okay. So these people, the Flash, see us as a meal. Okay. Because if you follow the party that's, currently supposed to be, of all the pedo stuff and the child, and you get it. So these folks are in charge now. And they want business as usual to increase, okay, without any oversight, and for those who disagree with them, then we should be re-educated. So, why aren't some of these folks just being honest to God? If there is a God in heaven and an ET with a little bit of sense, why aren't these folks being plucked up and taken off planet? They want to kill all of us who are suffering, and take our spirit, we'll take their spirits away. So it was said in such a way that I was like, oh, holy shit, this is double talk. We're going to alleviate the planet of pain by taking their souls off planet, by killing them. What are they going to do with the bodies? They're going to leave them for us to, to deal with. If that's like the overall plan. So you have to think about what some of these folks are supposed to be connected to. Well, but they've been using the word ascension. Only a few use transition. And again, I will reiterate for myself because I still don't get us being into the 5th dimension unless we pass on, unless we die, this body dies. I've wondered that ever since people started talking about it. So I'm here for the ride, I'm here for the knowledge. I'm here to find out whatever I can, because that information will be stored in my soul. So, but, this is not about to terrify anybody, scare anybody, but we seriously need to stop and think about that. Because like I said, they've been kicking me around this afternoon going, you need to do a quick vid on this and tell folks, just pay attention to what some of these people are talking about. But how are they going to do this? Well, we're going to get energies. There's the energies things coming from the universe. Well, then our DNA is going to get changed. Okay. Is it going to be painful? Well, blah, 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 blah. So I have listened to their blah, blah, blah on many different channels now. And I'm not saying everybody is attuned to this or has caught this. But this recent video today that was published, I'm like, wait a minute. So how do we get the planet to ascend? We get blasted by some kind of cosmic ray and it fries the planet. And we will wake up with our spirits in another realm. Okay. Doesn't that sort of fit what they've been? I mean, leaving out the planet getting destroyed by. But the dreams that I've had are that there is going to be mass destruction. And I've talked about the dream that I've had years ago that started me on being, Hawkeye Two Feathers. That, the 5 braves on horseback. And I did a video on this a while back, but I might need to re-up it again and just talk about that and nothing else. But in it, I was shown that of the 4 horsemen, if you want to call them the 4 horsemen of apocalypse, that they rode off in 4 directions and left me standing there was like the brave, maybe a chief, but he only had 1 feather. And, but he did have, breastplate kind of thing, bone breastplate. But other than that, you could tell that of his stature, and he came in on a black horse. And then we're having this discussion, and he takes me, I'm standing over watching, and then I get picked up and moved beside him. And he doesn't get off the horse. He's just 1 minute, actually 1 second, he's on the horse, and the next second he's standing beside me. And he says, look in that direction where the braves have gone, and look in this direction, and look in this direction. And he pointed in each of the directions. And there was screaming and wailing and gnashing of teeth like it was hell. And after a few moments of looking in each, and he said, you must see in each one of these directions as what will occur. And so I'm like, it still affects me to this day, the things that was shown during that time. And grandfather was standing on a little hill not far saying, you need to listen to this guy. So, but then the horsemen started coming back to this one brave, and a lieutenant or something, but anyway, but as they came, and there was one of the things that was so interesting that when I told this to a few Indian friends, they were like, where did you get that? How did you know about that? And it is the fact that in the old days, if someone was really bad, nasty, something, a horrible enemy, they really had to do something bad. They would tie their hair to the horse's tail. And a dun horse, what they called him, a horse that was old, maybe had, broken a leg, and it's still good to like haul things with, but not for hunting. So, and maybe food later on. But the idea, though, that that when I said that their hair was all tied together behind each horse, they were like, oh man, dude, how did you know that? How would you know unless you actually, because there's nothing in the history books, but the old natives will talk about how they did that with a dun horse. And, they didn't do it to everybody. You had to be a real mofo to have done something. Rape a child, really, really nasty something. And, they beat you and everything, tie your hands behind your back, which was another thing that I saw. Everybody who was there had their hands tied behind their back. So when I described what I saw in the vision, they were like, wow, dude, and the lines just went on and on and on. So at the ending of this native princess, all dressed in white buckskin, had a big black book, and she rode in on a white horse. And she didn't get off the horse. She was 1 second, she was on it. And this is important in that they were on the horse, off the horse. There was no sliding. Anyway, to me, it was important. And so she went over to the brave with the 1 feather And she said, here is the book. And she said, we are only taking those who offended Mother Earth. And it's not about revenge. It's about that for everything that was taken from Mother Earth, that Mother Earth should receive in the balance the energy back. In other words, for everybody, I guess, who may have thrown a bottle out a window, now that's being a little crude about that, but that these people will go first, and that it's not in revenge, it's to balance the energy of the planet. And I was like, but is everybody going to go? And it was like, no, not everybody's going. There will be those who will be left behind to tend Mother Earth. Now, when I was a little kid, I understood that I was going to be a hermit and live in the woods on a river, and that I was going to tend Mother Earth. That's exactly what I've been doing for the last 40 years here on this property. Well, it's 37 years, actually. In 2000, let's see, this is 2001, 2 more years. All right, so 38 years. But in that, though, so then he, the brave with one feather, got onto the white horse with the book, and off they rode. And the native princess in all white buckskin, she said, the deed is done. The balance has been met. Until next time. And she was standing on the ground, and then she was on the black horse, and then she rode off. And grandfather looked at me, this white gentleman in like white buckskin. He said, Hawkeye, these are the things that will transpire. Didn't say when, but because of the balance of nature, it must be done. And I woke up, what the, right? So, but anyway, so in my own self, in my own thing, and what I've been shown and so forth, it's like, all right, so what they're preaching us and have been preaching to us, it is for us to get ready to make the transition. But does that mean that, 3 billion people are going to get wiped out in order for the balance to be met? Just saying. So does this really change anything in the grand scheme of things? I don't think so, because I don't think we're going to have a choice. If it is these cosmic energies and everything that's coming in, we're just going to have to take our best, if you live next to the ocean and there's a tsunami, that might end that. I'm far enough inland from both oceans that they tell me I'm safe here. Okay. And if I'm not, so be it. But having the dreams of what, that there was going to be water in my backyard many years ago, and I don't mean from floods, I mean, because the Ochlockonee River goes down to the Ochlockonee Bay, which is near Panacea. It's at Panacea, Ochlockonee Bay, and the ocean in the panhandle there. So what I was shown years ago, and I was like, nah, that ain't never going to happen. But now after all these years, and I just, okay, well, this is going to be the backwater from the ocean. Yeah, okay, all right. Now I'm kind of wondering, like, crap, is this going to be, backwater from? I don't know, but with all the weirdness going on, with all the proclamations and with all the prognostications, I think the bottom line is, in a lot of ways, things are going to get a lot worse, simply because there's going to be stuff that we're just not going to be able to stop. We had another big solar flare yesterday, earlier today, and then the big earthquake. That stuff's going to go on. And if they think that, some kind of climate tax is carbon tax or something is going to help us out of this mess, they're full of stuff. And one of the other mountains erupted too. Maybe it was in Japan. So, but anyway, to this thing, get it in your heads that the universe is always changing. We can't fear it. We can only just be as prepared as we can for whatever that means to us. Spiritually, keep your spirit together. Make sure you stay on the right path. Um, and the other thing is that, if those powers that be that are supposed to be helping us, they need to step out of the woodwork and show some of us, show us all, actually. But, why would they allow more murder and mayhem across the planet if it could be stopped? You know what I'm saying? If these are both benevolent beings, why don't they step in? I mean, honestly, seriously, what's up with you folk up there? You know? So if that's the truth. Now, I understand there are a lot of battles and things and this and that, but, if they've got the technology, if they say, look, Hawkeye, they send me a message and go, Hawkeye, we got a med bed up here, but we're going to fix your back for you. I'd go, sweet Jesus, thank you, and, put me back down here so I can, go do carpentry work and do stuff and be more productive instead of not being able to stand or walk like I used to. It's, it's a horrible thing that when you want to do something and you obviously physically can't. So it's like, yeah, fix me. I'll come back down here. I'll stick it out, but, ain't no phone calls, no notice of any of this stuff. It was supposed to have been here in 2019, 2020. Now it's 2021. Where is it? Where's all the stuff that, quote, these folks have been promising? But here's the thing that I wonder. I think they've been promised and had faith in whatever, and they've been given the snow job too. I think a lot of us have been given a certain snow jobs in this mess. Okay. So, but again, we have to look at the whole universe, not just our tiny little planet and this solar system. We have to look at the entire universe of all the galaxies. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're just but a small part, but every single one of us is a piece of the puzzle. So don't give up. But at the same time, the awareness I received today was, it was like, oh, fuck. What? This might be their underlying, this is how this ascension is going to take place, is by, quote, the event, a massive event. Oh, holy crap. What are we going to do? We're going to sit here and be as, positive about it as possible. But if it's some kind of not God, okay, but the universe just doing its thing. Well, God's going to wreak havoc upon the earth. It ain't God. It's nature. But God's wrath on us. Okay. So with my discussion about the Braves on horseback, it had nothing to do with revenge, because grandfather stood there and said, this isn't about revenge, Hawkeye. This is about balance in the universe. Balance being put back onto Mother Earth. How are we going to get that? Well, is everybody just going to put their cell phones down? Is nobody ever going to buy another rechargeable battery again? Are people going to stop driving their cars? Are we going to, turn off all the electric plants, or, or is an event going to do that for us? Not necessarily take us back to the Stone Age, but take us back to a point of reality that we have assumed too much out of Mother Earth. And that assumption is over, So the Great Reset, again, what are they resetting? The population? Are they resetting the financials? If they're going to reset it, what the hell's going on? Why aren't they doing why, why do certain people own more farmland than the rest of the country, kind of thing? Why are these things even being allowed to happen if these benevolents were so flippin' benevolent? You follow me? So I'm telling my folks, hey, if this, you tell them folks, as we used to say in the old days, shit or get off the pot, quit holding up the bathroom, do it or get out. So for me, I'm going to be nice to them, but I still say, if you are benevolent beings, then my prayer is you either shit or get off the pot. Period. There ain't no more to this. There's no more discussion. If they know all these things, if they can even see future events, then why don't they come in and at least tell people, listen, it's really going to get nasty here in a couple of years. And if any of you want to volunteer to come with us, okay, depending on who they are, I might go. Or I just might stay here and see what happens, as part of the life experience. Sometimes I drive down to the river when it's flooded just to see what it looks like. I'm a lot more cautious after the drowning event, but I'm coming up on my anniversary of my drowning in the Oclockney. It'll be next month, a couple of weeks. But anyway, in a way, I'm kind of looking forward to it, in that I've made it another year after the drowning and the freezing and all that. But and the financial loss and all that stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to get off of here. It's almost been an hour. You can't fool with Mother Nature, and people have been trying to do it. Why are some of these earthquakes and things happening? They say, doing the fracturing thing and all that. Bananas. We've been screwing with the planet for a long time. And for example, they take all this oil out of these reserves under the ground. Now, do you think for a moment that those things don't get filled back up with something, or are those cavities just going to stay empty? Well, there have been a lot of hot spots lately up in the Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia area, where they've been mining coal. That's not near as bad as mining. That's some of the first places that they found oil was up there. So they've been pumping out of that area. So why would there be a hot spot up there? Well, if they've taken enough oil out of the earth and magma finds its way, so by taking the oil out of the cavities in the earth, which it is, then lava comes up and fills those chambers. It's just like, duh. Why is the earth wobbling? There are several more people that are talking about the earth wobbling. There's one channel that's like, the earth slowed down and now it's speeding up again, and then it's slowing down. I've talked about this years ago. It's still happening. I just got tired of keeping track of it because I already knew that it was happening. All I had to do was wake up and say, okay, where's the sun today in my windows? And I could tell if the sun was early or late. And it's speeding up and it's slowing down rotation wise. Duh. So earthquakes going off. The displacement of lava from under the earth is like, I've described this before, it's like a tire being out of balance. It's going to wobble until it finds its center again, its fluid center. Okay. So are things going to happen? Yes. This planet's never going to be quiet. Okay. So 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, and unless they've blown it up. But the earth is still going to be changing. The whole universe is changing all the time. So once you get that in your head and go, it's just nature, it's just changes, and I'm here to observe it. That's all. And if a nature event kills me, well, then there's my ascension. I get to go now, So anyway, I love you all. Who's in here? Project Skyfalls. Elderberry. I think that Dolores did say something about that. Hey, Pearly G. They replace oil with water. I always think steam bomb. Well, that too, Elderberry. But I'm in That's what they're doing now by pumping water in and forcing the oil out. I'm talking about just where, like off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, big salt chambers next to the oil deposits. They pump them out, and then hi, Joyce or Russ. Are you serious? I'm sorry. Joyce or Russ, how are you? I'm sorry. But So I've known folks in the oil industry and pumping industry and drilling and that kind of thing, and I've done my own research about it too. So if it isn't magma, but to the point, if there's water in those chambers, and I'm talking about the big chambers, right? So not the water that they're forcing down to get the oil out, different. Um, but so anytime you take out something out of a cavity, it's going to want to fill up with something. And if it's way down deep in the earth, then whatever is way down deep in the earth is going to try to fill it up. It could be with water. There was a prediction that, and I'm like, okay, that there's more underground water, and by the removal of oil and certain things and the crustal displacement, that we're part of the flood isn't going to be that the oceans are rising, it's going to be subterranean water coming to the surface. And I'm like, what? Okay, I'm still scratching my head over that one, but okay. When they're going back to the thing about what the Mississippi River and the water is going to look like. Listen, if those salt domes where they've been pulling oil from for a long time now decide to crack and collapse, there's going to be a lot of stuff change along the Gulf Coast and right up the Mississippi River. There's no doubt about it because of what's under the planet. And if it collapses and settles, water's going to rush in. Louisiana ain't but about 2 foot above sea level anyway. So, New Orleans is underwater basically. So I've been to New Orleans and seen the dikes and been there and all that. And it's like, wait a minute, their water's right there and we're down. Holy crap, climb up on the edge of the dike and look over, right? So I'd visit there, but I surely wouldn't want to live there. Florida limestone. Yeah, we're a lot of limestone underneath me and around here in this area too. And I've been in these caves that are down here in South Georgia and some in Florida too, as well as out in Arkansas and Missouri. Uh, North Georgia, I think there was one. But anyway, and some of the caves I've been into, only those folks who, had enough guts to crawl in a little tiny hole. There might have been nobody ever went in that cave that I was in. So, but anyway, but this idea though, that they want me to caution everybody, and it's almost 5:20. So I'm going to end this with, hey, let's fill a bowl and, have another one for my sister who lives down in Florida, down in Dade City. Wait, or is it Zephyr Hills? Anyway, Dade City and Zephyr Hills are not too far apart, but I want to say she lives in Dade City. Anyway, she lives down there and is doing well, as she said. And she said, Dave, I'm going to take my teeth out. I'm going to take my teeth out and I'm going to get really stoned for my birthday. And I was like, well, then I'll do one for you too. Well, that was an hour ago when I hung up the phone with her, but I know she's still sitting in her chair with her dogs. And so here's another one for my sister. Hey, David Castle, how y'all doing? Yeah, they just said, it's nasty outside. Me and the dog went up to check the mail, and I'd really like to go outside and do something, but it's so soggy and it's like, 50 degrees. Elderberry says, I was calling you. I will definitely do a replay. Just wanted to hear your voice and send my love to y'all. Thank you, Chloe. And thank you to all of you for being a subscriber and being a friend and hanging out with each other. And most of what I know is that it seems to me that most of you folks, yeah, Chloe, you had a birthday too recently, right? And my sister, my I'm the oldest of the clan. Um, Same to you, David. Turned 66 today, and the youngest sister of the brood, her birthday is on Monday, so I'm going to have to call her and wish her a happy birthday too. And she's made it through breast cancer and is still on the other side. And I haven't talked to him up there in 40 years old now. Do what you can while you're at that age. Let me tell you, you grab as much of life as you can, and don't take no for an answer unless it's just impossible. But you know, if you can work it out, experience as much as you can. If it's walking, walk more. Because I wish that I had I have difficulty walking, so it's like God, I wished I'd have done more walking when I could. You know what I mean? It just, but and the rivers are too high right now to go. Um, to go kayaking. So 420, 522, missed it by 2, but it's close enough. So this one's for my sister and all y'all out there, Chloe and everybody. So yum yum. I had a piece of pineapple left over, so that's what it's doing. Yeah, and I'll mention her name at the end of this video with all of you in here. My friend Marcia, that I talked about a few months ago, that had broken her arm and everything. She's been in and out of the hospital and in and out of nursing homes, and bless her heart. And then she got COVID, and she's in the local hospital. And so, if we could all just, for my friend Marcia, we've been friends for over 40 years easily, and well before I bought this piece of property. And what little bit of family she has is not very much. And but there are a lot of people who know her and love her, and so, but I don't know if many of these folks know what her condition is. As far as I know, she's still alive, but was very, very, very sick a week ago. And so tomorrow's her birthday, and God knows I have spent a birthday or two in the hospital, and it sucks, you know. And it's not that I expect anything on my birthday, but to be in the hospital on your birthday, it's like it sucks. There's no other way I can say about it. So if y'all will, let's grab our cosmic, hands together. And I'm going to say a quick short prayer for my friend Marcia. So if you all will just, if you would like to, just send that good thought out to her. So, Creator, into all of those, spirits that have been around my friend Marcia. She has a nurse for 25 years, has taken care of many people. May you please, please, please send peace to her heart and love from all of us, and know that she is not alone. Being alone on your birthday and in a hospital truly sucks. And my wish, along with those of you who are participating, are sending you love and healing, and that you'll be out soon. So that's all I wanted to say. So for those of you, cheers, everybody. Thank you for that. Jody, I seen you pop in if you're still there. And if you are, you don't have to jump in, but I just want to make sure that, did you check on the plastic snow? And if anybody else is out there, Have you, with all this snow that's coming down, has anybody seen any plastic snow? Will any of it catch on fire? I live too far south at the moment. Although, you know, there's supposed to be snow flurries over in Texas and Louisiana that's actually further south than where I live as far as latitude. So, but anyway, my friends, they want me to do another show tonight, and it depends on if my brain is awake or not. But they just wanted me to get on here this Saturday, rainy Saturday afternoon, when some folks are snowed in, others like me, or it's just crummy out there, you know. So I wanted to do something, but also the information is just damned interesting, and we should consider it, you know. But being scared about it, being terrified about it, that's not on the block. But keep your soul and your spirit together, you know. Make sure that that's intact, regardless of what happens. So, because we will make that transition one way or the other one day, whether it's, you know, it's this giant wave of stuff that gets us all at once, or whether it's just nature that takes us when it's time for us to go. So, but anyway, I love you all. I do. Please stay safe. Please allow yourself to, you know, stay aware of things around you, because I was listening to this thing, and then it was like my awareness, I'm listening, what you got to say. And then if I'd just been listening instead of being aware of what was being said, I would have missed it. But it's almost like a subliminal little message, like, here y'all go. What? So anyway, I've said enough about that. I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and yes, the blessings from the universe. Awareness is a blessing. Although if you're aware that you're on fire, that might be not necessarily a blessing, or that you can put it out right away and jump in the water. I'm in a crazy mood today. I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept, receive, and to share the information from the universe, the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom, and the blessings. And in that rule of three, which agrees with me, I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the blessings from the universe. My friends, stay warm, stay healthy, stay aware, and stay away from crazy people. I love you all. Take care, all right? And Joyce, sorry I'm leaving, but it's still light, and I'm going to try. It's going to get cold, so I got to see if I can find some. Travis the Brick. You're welcome, Travis. Thanks for hanging out with us. And maybe later on tonight, about 12-ish or so, they want me to talk about native things again. So, yeah, I didn't see Isby in here either, but to the point. Love to all y'all. See you later, Travis, the Brick, Project Skyfalls, David Castle, Teresa, as always, hugs. And anybody else that comes on that we may have missed. Elderberry, yes, it's balmy 3 degrees where he is there. So stay warm and stay healthy. Till next time, I say adios, and of course, TTFN. Ta-ta for now. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.